Saturday, 11:52 p.m. Sterling Grand Lobby. Adrian Lockhart face down on marble. Handcuffs biting wrists. Spence's knee crushing her spine. Guest phones recording from balconies. Yoga pants. Northwestern hoodie. 3 days here as Adrian Voss. Standard room. Fiona Delacroix near reception. Arms crossed. Vindicated smile. Corporate spy. Identity fraud. Trespasser. Spence jerked her upright. Journal exploded across floor. Pages scattering. One landed near guest feet. Letterhead visible. Handwritten notes. Guest photographed it. Elevator opened. June Alvarez stepping out. Coffee cup. Night shift. Saw woman in cuffs. Something flickered across June's face. I know her from somewhere. Cup slipping. Spinning slow. Spence hauling her toward exit. Crowd parting. Phones everywhere. Fiona projecting for witnesses. Log this. Time, date, name, full report morning. Adrian silent. Eyes tracking cameras. Witnesses. Mistakes. Brass doors. Marble steps. Stumbled. Hands cuffed. Couldn't balance. Knees cracked stone. Gasped. Phones captured fall. Patrol car. Door slammed. Rear window. Sterling Grand glowing. Guests filming. Fiona watching car vanish. Inside car. Adriane's face reflected in plexiglass. Jaw set. Eyes forward. Not panicked. Not crying. Not begging. Calm. Like she knew something they didn't. Like this wasn't over. Like she was counting something in her head. Cameras, witnesses, violations, building a list only she could see. 3 days walking this property. 3 days they'd watched her, questioned her, followed her. 3 days they had to ask one simple question. They never did. 72 hours earlier. Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Adrian Lockhart sat in her Richmond apartment, black coffee steaming beside her laptop. 49 years old. 24 years climbing from night audit clerk to this moment. The email on her screen glowed. Confidential. Eclipse Hospitality Group. CEO appointment, effective Monday. She closed the laptop, opened her leather journal, wrote in neat shorthand, Sterling Grand, 72-hour audit begins today. This was her ritual. Every property she'd ever fixed started the same way. Arrive early, check in anonymous. Live the reality staff lived. See what corporate never saw. Her phone buzzed. Daughter's text. Mom, you nervous? She typed back, terrified. But fear means something important. Stared at the framed photo on her desk. Her late husband, 2 daughters, standing outside her first property 23 years ago. He'd said she'd run the whole industry someday. Took her 5 years after his death to believe it again. She packed light. 3 outfits, laptop, the journal. 1 change of clothes more than she needed. The board meeting 3 weeks ago replayed in her mind. Chicago headquarters. 73rd floor. Lake Michigan stretching gray beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. 7 board members around glass table. 3 internal candidates passed over. All white. All expecting the role. Victoria Hess had voiced it carefully. Not outright. Never outright. Just, Adrian, our properties serve a particular clientele. Can you represent the Eclipse brand identity authentically? Translation clear as crystal. Adrian's response had been measured, surgical. She'd spent 24 years fitting into cultures not built for her. Now she built them. The vote carried. Hess's smile tight as wire. What Adrian hadn't known, Hess leaked the appointment to Fiona Delacroix. Planted seeds of paranoia. Watch for corporate spies. They're coming to evaluate you. What Adrian hadn't known, Garrett Spence's younger brother had been fired from Eclipse 3 years prior. Theft. Spence blamed uppity management, held grudges like religion. What Adrian hadn't known, Fiona never read the CEO appointment email. Deleted it. 4 seconds viewing time. Assumed spam. Perfect storm waiting. Wednesday afternoon, she'd driven to Ashmont. Checked into Sterling Grand as Adrian Voss, her maiden name, perfectly legal. Personal credit card, standard room 847, asked for late checkout Sunday. Front desk clerk smiled politely, processed her, handed over key cards. Nobody questioned anything. That night, she'd reviewed her turnaround binder. Staff retention strategy, guest experience overhaul, compliance fixes, community relations rebuild. 90 days to transform Sterling Grand from liability into flagship. Tab marked personnel concerns had one name underlined. Fiona Delacroix. 18 years tenure. Interim GM 16 months. Expected permanent promotion. Sticky note beside it. Fire, retrain, watch. She'd written those words 2 weeks ago, before ever meeting Fiona. Now she'd spend 72 hours deciding which. Her wedding ring hung on chain beneath her shirt. She touched it once, whispered to empty air, "Here we go." Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m. Adrienne checks into Sterling Grand under the name Adrienne Voss. The front desk clerk hands over key cards without a second glance. Room 847, standard double. Nothing fancy. Exactly what she wanted. The moment she gets to her room, the work starts. Phone out. Camera roll filling up fast. She photographs the fire exit sign. 8 months expired. The smoke detector blinking that weak yellow light that means the battery's dying. Behind the bathroom door, there's a labor law poster showing last year's minimum wage. Federal violation right there on the wall where anyone could see it if they bothered to look. But nobody bothers to look. That's the problem. She pulls out a leather journal and starts writing in this shorthand code only she can read. Opens her laptop next. The files she's been building for weeks are all there. Staff turnover at 90%. Guest complaints up 40%. Maintenance requests piling up, ignored, getting older and older. She's got 72 hours to see if the reality matches the numbers on her screen. Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. The lobby bar is one of those upscale hotel bars with leather booths and bottles lit up like jewels. Adrienne takes a corner table, orders sparkling water. No alcohol when she's working, and then she just watches. The staff moves around like they're walking on eggshells. You can see it in their shoulders. The bartender smiles at guests, but his whole body stays tense. A server apologizes 3 times for a drink that's maybe 2 minutes late. That's not normal. That's fear. 6:40 p.m. A woman walks into the bar and the energy shifts immediately. Tall, mid-50s. Expensive suit that probably cost more than most people make in a month. She walks through that bar like she owns it, which technically she kind of does. Doesn't say hello to a single employee. Not one. Just runs her finger along the bar checking for dust. Stops by a server and says something about her posture. Loud enough that the guests nearby can hear, loud enough to humiliate. The server straightens up, apologizes, goes completely blank-faced. The woman walks away without even acknowledging the apology. Adrienne writes in her journal, "Management through humiliation." 7 p.m. The woman comes back through. This time her eyes land on Adrienne. 3 seconds of direct eye contact. That's not casual, that's deliberate. Adrienne keeps her face neutral. Sips her water like she's just another guest enjoying her evening. But the woman's expression changes, sharpens. She pulls out her phone as she leaves. 7:15 p.m. A security guard shows up in the bar entrance. Young guy, early 20s, radio in hand. His eyes scan the whole room and then lock on Adrienne. 5 full seconds he just stares at her. Then he speaks into his radio. Leaves. Adrienne's been in the building 4 hours and they're already watching her. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Adrienne's coming back from the fitness center when she spots the woman again, standing by the elevators, pretending to look at her phone but clearly waiting. They pass within 6 feet of each other. The woman speaks up, "Excuse me." Adrienne stops, turns around. The woman asks what floor she's on. 8, Adrienne tells her. The woman looks her up and down. Yoga pants, hoodie, no makeup, nothing that screams money or status. Then she asks how long Adrienne's staying. Through Sunday. The woman doesn't say anything for a long moment, just stares, like she's trying to solve a puzzle. Finally she says, "Enjoy your stay." But the way she says it, that's not welcoming. That's a warning. Adrienne goes to her room, locks the door, looks through the peephole. The woman's still standing in the hallway, phone pressed to her ear, lips moving fast. eyes locked on Adrian's door like she can see through it. Adrian writes in her journal that night, "Paranoid. Territorial. This is going to escalate." Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Adrian finds the employee break room behind the laundry facility. It's like stepping into evidence of neglect. Vending machine's been broken for weeks. One microwave for 80 employees. The bulletin board is covered in required postings, but half of them are outdated. There's even a handwritten sign that says employees can't discuss wages with each other. That's illegal. Straight up illegal under federal labor law. She's taking photos when she hears heels clicking on the floor behind her. Turns around. The woman standing in the doorway, arms crossed. She wants to know what a guest is doing back here in a restricted area. Adrian keeps her voice calm, says she got lost looking for the business center. The woman steps into the room, gets closer, close enough that Adrian can smell her perfume. She asks Adrian's name, Adrian Voss. Room number 847. The woman pulls out her phone right there, looks up the reservation while staring Adrian in the face, confirms it's real. But that doesn't make the suspicion go away. It gets worse. She asks what Adrian does for work. Hospitality. What company? Between jobs right now. Evaluating opportunities. The woman's jaw tightens. She says guest areas only. Says restricted zones are off limits. Says, and this is the part that really lands, for Adrian's own safety, she needs to stay where she belongs. The way she emphasizes belongs makes it crystal clear this isn't about safety. Adrian nods, walks past her. As she's leaving, she catches the woman's reflection in the polished metal wall, still standing there, phone already at her ear, talking fast, eyes following Adrian until she disappears around the corner. Thursday afternoon, Adrian makes a phone call from her room, tells someone named Patricia to bring full documentation in 48 hours. Patricia asks if it's really that bad. Adrian looks at her journal. Pages and pages of violations, staff afraid, culture rotting from the top down. She says, worse than the numbers showed. Thursday evening, the woman's in the lobby. The second she spots Adrian, she walks over to the security chief, points in Adrian's direction while talking. The chief approaches, very polite, very professional. Asks if Adrian needs help finding anything. No, just getting coffee. He suggests that if she has questions about the hotel facilities, she should ask at the front desk. Says some areas can be confusing for guests. The message is clear. Stay visible. Stay in your lane. We're watching you. She smiles. Thanks him. Gets her coffee. Goes back to her room. Writes in her journal, "They're building a case against me." Perfect. Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. Adrian goes to her car in the parking lot to grab a phone charger she forgot. Within seconds, a security guard approaches. Young guy, looks nervous, asks to see her room key. She hands it over without arguing. He swipes it. Green light. Hands it back. Says they've been having problems with theft, with people who don't belong. But here's the thing Adrian noticed. She watched from her window for 20 minutes before coming down. Saw 6 white guests walk past that same guard. He didn't stop any of them, only stopped her. She thanks him, goes back inside. Adds it to her documentation. Profiling is systematic. Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Adrian's at the pool when the woman shows up again. This isn't coincidence anymore. This is surveillance. The woman sits 20 feet away, opens a magazine, but her eyes keep lifting, watching. When Adrian gets up to leave, the woman's phone rings. She answers it without even trying to be quiet. Yes, she's still here. 3 days now. I want to know who sent her. Adrian keeps walking, face neutral, but understanding exactly what's happening. They're not just watching anymore. They're hunting. Saturday night, 8 p.m. Adrian can't sleep. The violations keep running through her head. Staff working injured. Equipment broken for weeks. A culture so toxic it's become policy. She's documented everything for 72 hours. But there's one more thing she needs to see. The overnight shift. The people working in the dark. They deserve to know someone's paying attention. She changes into yoga pants and a hoodie. Grabs her journal and phone. Heads for the elevator. What she doesn't know, The woman's made calls to security, to an off-duty cop who works hotel security on the side. Told them to watch for suspicious activity. What she doesn't know, that cop has 14 complaints in his file. His brother got fired from this hotel chain 3 years ago for theft. He's been waiting for an excuse. What she doesn't know, the trap's already set. 10:42 p.m. Adrian steps outside through a side exit. Cool night air. Quiet except for kitchen noises in the distance. She starts walking the perimeter, taking photos of broken lights, checking emergency systems that should be working but aren't. 10:47 p.m. She hears footsteps behind her. Heavy, boot leather on pavement. A voice calls out, "Stop right there." She turns around. Police officer, hand resting on his belt near his weapon. Stance aggressive. Already decided she's a problem. He asks what she's doing out here. She stays calm, says she's a guest. Room 847, just taking an evening walk. He demands ID. She reaches for her wallet slowly, hands over her license. He looks at it, speaks into his radio. Got a female, late 40s, wandering around service areas after hours. 10:50 p.m. Golf cart headlights cut through the darkness. The security chief arrives. Then the woman from the bar. Her face is hard, satisfied, like she's been waiting for this moment. The woman talks fast, tells the officer this is the one she's been calling about. 3 days of suspicious behavior, taking photographs, accessing restricted areas. Adrian tries to reason with them, says she has every right to be here. The woman's voice goes ice cold. Remove her from my property, tonight. The officer tells Adrian to turn around. Hands behind her back. Adrian looks at all the cameras. The one on the building corner, the dash cam on the golf cart, the body camera on the officer's chest. Everything's being recorded. Every mistake they're making is being preserved. She could stop this right now. 2 words would end it. But she spent 72 hours building evidence. This is the final piece. The moment when everything they've been doing wrong gets captured on camera with timestamps and witnesses. She turns around slowly, puts her hands behind her back, completely compliant, says clearly, "I am cooperating fully. I am not resisting in any way." The handcuffs click shut around her wrists. The trap closes. But what they don't understand yet, what they won't understand until it's too late, is that she's been setting a trap of her own, and they just walked right into it. 11:15 p.m. The handcuffs go on tight. Too tight, Adrian feels the metal bite into her wrists, cutting off circulation. Her fingers start tingling within seconds. Officer Spence yanks her arms back harder than necessary. She winces but doesn't make a sound. Won't give him the satisfaction. He leans in close. Coffee breath. Something mean underneath. He whispers so the cameras won't catch it clearly. "Bet you thought you were real smart, didn't you? Sneaking around, but you're just another..." He stops himself. Adrian asks quietly, "Another what, officer?" "Finish your sentence." Spence jerks her upright by the cuffs. Her shoulders scream. She gasps but stays on her feet. He says, "Another trespasser who doesn't know her place." There's that word again. Place. Now here's what you need to understand about what happens next. The security chief, Luther, he's standing there looking uncomfortable, suggests they walk her to the patrol car the back way. Keep it quiet, keep it simple, but Spence has other ideas. He says no. They're going through the lobby. Luther tries to stop him. "Garrett, that's not..." Spence cuts him off, says if she wanted to see the property, they'll give her the full tour. Fiona, the woman from the bar, she doesn't say anything. Doesn't stop him, just watches with her arms crossed and that small smile on her face. And this is where it gets bad. 11:22 p.m., main lobby entrance. Spence walks Adrian through the front doors. Not the side exit, the main entrance, where everyone can see. The lobby's still busy. Late check-ins, business travelers at the bar, night shift clerk behind the desk. Every single head turns. The whole lobby just goes quiet. Dead quiet. Adrian's still in yoga pants and a hoodie, hair pulled back, no makeup, hands cuffed behind her back, being walked across this expensive marble floor like she's a criminal. And here's what she's seeing right now. That crystal chandelier above her, 14 feet of Austrian crystal, $280,000. She approved that purchase 4 years ago. The marble under her feet? Carrara marble, hand-selected, $95 a square foot. She helped build all of this, and now it's watching her get humiliated. A guest near the concierge desk, older white guy, expensive watch. He leans to his wife and says loud enough to hear, "What did she do?" His wife answers, "Probably stealing." Adrian hears it. Her jaw tightens, but she keeps her head up. More phones come out. Guests on the balcony start recording. Those little red recording lights everywhere now. 11:23 p.m. Behind the front desk, June Alvarez looks up from her paperwork, sees Adrian in handcuffs, and you can see it hit her. Recognition. Her hand flies to her mouth. She pulls up the guest registry, finds the name Adrian Voss, room 847. But June's remembering something else, a conference in Miami. 8 months ago, a keynote speaker who talked about servant leadership, about treating staff with dignity. June's eyes go wide. She opens her mouth, then stops, looks at Fiona standing by the entrance, arms crossed, watching everything. June closes her mouth, makes a choice right there, stays quiet, a choice she's going to regret. Fiona starts playing to the audience now, calls out loud enough for everyone to hear, tells the night clerk to log this incident. Time, date, full name, wants a complete report by morning, tells security to review all footage, says she wants to know everywhere this woman went. She's building her story in real time. Dangerous guest, security threat, her decisive leadership, never looks at Adrian directly. 11:29 p.m. The bench. Spence sits Adrian down on a lobby bench. She's still cuffed. Can't lean back, has to sit forward, shoulders aching. He pulls out a citation book, takes his time, making her wait while guests stare and whisper and take pictures. Power play. That's all this is. Adrian sits up straight, head high. She won't give them the satisfaction. A young guy at the bar stands up. Tech worker type, late 20s. Calls out, "Hey, what did she actually do?" Spence doesn't even look. "Sir, step back or you're next." The guy asks Adrian if she needs a lawyer. She appreciates it. But she knows escalation makes things worse. She tells him, "I'll be fine, thank you." Spence gives final warning. The guy backs off but keeps his phone recording. 11:35 p.m. Spence finishes the citation, stands up, reads it out loud like he's performing. "Adrian Voss, you are being cited for criminal trespassing, disorderly conduct, and resisting lawful instruction." Adrian keeps her voice level. "I complied with every instruction. I never resisted." Spence, "You argued with management and security. That's obstruction." Adrian, "Asking questions isn't obstruction. Knowing my rights isn't disorderly conduct." Spence leans down, gets his face close. "Keep talking and see what else I add." 11:38 p.m. Here's where things get interesting. Adrian says, "I'd like to make a phone call." Spence, "You'll get your call at the station." And watch what she does next. She says, calm and precise. Under Ashmont Police Department, General Order 7.4, I'm entitled to 1 phone call prior to transport if I'm cooperative and non-violent. I've been both. Spence freezes. The lobby gets even quieter. Because think about it. How does some random hotel guest know the exact number of a police department general order? Luther speaks up. "She's right, Garrett. The order says..." Spence cuts him off. "I know what it says. She can call from the station." Adrian states clearly, "That's a violation of department policy." Spence's voice drops dangerous. "You memorize a lot of police policies, Ms. Voss?" Adrian answers, "Just the ones that protect people like me from people like you." The tension in that lobby right now? You could cut it with a knife. 11:42 p.m. Fiona's getting impatient. Tells Spence to just transport her already. They've wasted enough time. Spence pulls Adrian to her feet by the cuffs. She stumbles, catches her balance. They start toward the exit. 11:44 p.m. Right before the doors, Adrian stops. Just stops walking. Turns around to face Fiona. Their eyes meet across that lobby. Adrian says quiet but carrying, "Ms. Delacroix, I want you to remember this moment. Every detail, the lighting, the faces, how this feels. Remember all of it. Fiona's defensive immediately. Is that a threat? Adrian. No. Advice. Because 36 hours from now, you're going to wish you'd asked yourself one simple question tonight. Fiona demands, what question? Adrian just holds her gaze. Doesn't answer. Spence orders, enough. Let's go. 11:46 p.m. He pushes her toward the revolving doors. She stumbles on the door track, can't catch herself, hands cuffed, falls forward, knees hit marble steps, hard. Pain shoots through both kneecaps, sharp, white hot. She gasps. Guest phones capture the whole thing, the stumble, the fall, the gasp. Spence just stands there. Watch your step. Adrian's breathing through pain. You pushed me. Spence lies. You tripped. Don't make things up. 11:48 p.m. He opens the patrol car door. Hand on her head. Rough, not protective. Shoves her into the back seat. She lands awkwardly. Can't use her hands. Can't adjust position. He slams the door. Inside the car smells terrible. Stale coffee, cleaning chemicals, that old vinyl smell. Wire mesh separates her from the front, like she's caged. Spence gets in, starts the engine, doesn't say a word. Radio crackles. Normal dispatcher traffic. Just another night in Ashmont. Nothing special about one more arrest, except this one's different. Here's what's going through Adrian's head right now. She's counting everything. Every violation, every witness, every camera, every mistake they made. Excessive force during cuffing. Check. Denied phone call violating policy. Check. False charges. Check. Public humiliation with witnesses. Check. Fall caused by officer pushing her. Check. Caught on multiple cameras. She texted someone earlier today. Told them 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bring full documentation. They'll be there. The car pulls away from Sterling Grand. Through the rear window, Adrian watches the building get smaller. Guests still on balconies. Still filming. Fiona still standing at entrance. Arms crossed, watching until the car turns the corner. What Fiona doesn't know? The videos are already uploading. Guests posting to Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, hashtags forming, story spreading. By morning, this won't be local anymore. By morning, this will be everywhere. Adrian closes her eyes, controls her breathing, thinks about her late husband, what he'd say right now. Probably, "You've handled worse. This is just another Tuesday." She almost smiles. Then thinks about her daughters. What if they see this? Their mother arrested? Dragged through a hotel in handcuffs? Fear creeps in, not for herself, for what this means for every black professional who's fought to reach her level. But the fear doesn't stay soft. It hardens, turns into something cold and focused. This ends tonight. They don't get to do this anymore. The patrol car drives through empty streets, toward the station, toward booking and fingerprints and holding cell, toward the moment when everything changes. What they don't know, what they can't possibly know, is that tomorrow at 9 a.m., someone's walking through those hotel doors with documents that will flip this whole thing upside down. But they won't understand that until it's too late. Right now they think they won. Right now they think this is over. They have no idea what's coming. 1:47 a.m. Sunday morning. Adrian sitting in a holding cell. Concrete walls, metal bench. That fluorescent light that won't stop buzzing. Wrists bruised from the cuffs, knees throbbing from those steps. But her mind? Clear. They make her wait 90 minutes before letting her make one phone call. Officer finally hands her the phone through the bars. She dials. 3 rings. Then, hello? Patricia, it's me. I need you at Sterling Grand, 9 a.m. Patricia wakes up fast. Adrian, what? It's 2 in the morning. I was arrested. Trespassing. Disorderly conduct. Resisting. Dead silence. Then, you were what? 9 a.m. Bring the board resolution. My contract. The email showing Fiona got notified 3 weeks ago. I'm calling the board chair right. No, let it play out. I need them to document everything they do next. This is insane. This is necessary. Just be there. Hangs up. Sits back down. Thinks. They have no idea what they just started. Now here's what's happening while Adrian is locked up. 3:42 a.m. Internet's blowing up. Those guest videos hit Twitter at 12:14 a.m. Some tech guy posts, "Just watched a Sterling Grand arrest a black woman for walking, trick Sterling scandal." 47-second clip attached. 340 shares first hour. By 6 a.m., trending everywhere. Sterling scandal, hospitality. While black, a journalist sees it. Rashida Ellis. She covers hospitality scandals for a living. Recognizes that hotel immediately. Pulls up Ashmont PD arrest logs, public record. Finds Adrian Voss. That name bugs her. Sounds familiar. She searches Adrian plus hotel executive. Boom. Article from 3 weeks ago. Eclipse Hospitality names new CEO. Name in that article? Adrienne Lockhart. She checks who owns Sterling Grand. Eclipse Hospitality. Connects the dots. Whispers they arrested their own CEO. Starts making calls. This just went national. But wait, here's where it gets worse. 3 a.m. Fiona's phone rings at home. She answers, panicking. Calls Victoria Hess. Victoria, board member who voted no on hiring Adrian. Fiona's freaking out about the arrest. The video's going viral. Everything's spiraling. And you know what Victoria does? Doesn't help. Sees opportunity. Hangs up with Fiona. Starts calling other board members, the ones who didn't want Adrian hired in the first place. Says things like, "I warned you. 3 days and she's already caused a PR disaster. We need to reconsider before Monday." Get this. She's not defending Adrian. She's using this to kill the appointment, building a case, while Adrian's still locked in that cell with zero clue it's happening. 7:45 a.m. Sterling Grand. Fiona shows up for work, still feeling like she won, eliminated the threat, protected her property. Barely slept but running on pure adrenaline. 7:48, her desk phone rings. Corporate, senior VP, doesn't even say hello. Fiona, explain last night. Fiona confident, removed a problematic guest, standard security protocol. SVP's voice gets tight. Guest name was Adrian Voss? Correct. She was using false identity, which raised red flags. Pull up your email, CEO announcement, 3 weeks ago. Find it now. Fiona annoyed. I get hundreds of emails. I'll wait. Fiona searches. Finds it in trash. Opens it. Subject, confidential. Eclipse CEO appointment, property access. Reads, Adrian Lockhart authorized full access 96 hours prior to official start date as CEO. Watch her face right here. Goes completely white. SVP, you find it? Fiona barely whispers, I never. Read receipt shows 4 seconds. You deleted it. I thought it was spam. SVP cold as ice. You arrested your boss. Woman who takes command tomorrow. PR catastrophe. You're the center of it. Hangs up. Fiona just sits there shaking. 8:12 a.m. Luther reviewing security footage. Spots June picking something off the lobby floor after the arrest. Radios her. Security office, now. June walks in. End of her shift. Dead tired. You picked up something last night, after the arrest. June hesitates. Pulls folded paper from her pocket. Fell from her bag. Unfolds it. Eclipse Hospitality letterhead. Handwritten notes. Signature, A. Lockhart. Luther stares. Lockhart. June's voice cracks. Miami, 8 months ago. Conference. She gave the keynote. She's the new CEO. Luther goes pale. We arrested our CEO. June starts crying. I knew. Last night I recognized her, and I stayed quiet. I was scared. Luther drops his head in his hands. Now here's the part that's going to make you furious. 8:30 a.m. Patricia's phone rings. Board Chair Thompson. He sounds stressed. We need to talk about Adrian. She was wrongfully arrested. Thompson cuts her off. Victoria's calling emergency board meeting, saying Adrian's judgment is compromised, that she provoked this, wants to delay her start pending investigation. Patricia's stomach drops. She what? Victoria's arguing a CEO should have identified herself immediately, that Adrian let it escalate on purpose. She's got 3 board members questioning everything. What are you saying? Thompson sighs. When Adrian walks in that hotel this morning, she might not have a job. Board meets 10 a.m. Victoria's pushing termination before Adrian officially starts. Can she even do that? 4 votes out of 7? Yes, and she might have them. National news, viral videos. Board members think it's too much controversy. Hangs up. Patricia stares at her phone. They're about to punish Adrian for getting profiled and arrested. Let me say that again. They're blaming the victim. 8:45 a.m. Adrian walks out, bail posted, still in yoga pants and hoodie, hair tied back, bruises showing on her wrists. Patricia's waiting. Mercedes in the lot. Doesn't hug her. Face says everything. Adrian sees it. What? Car. Now. They sit. Patricia explains. Emergency meeting. Victoria's move. Votes stacking against her. Adrian listens. Face blank. How many votes does she have? Maybe 4. Needs 4 to terminate. Thompson? With you. 1 vote. Adrian stares at the police station. At her bruised wrists. Documented violations for 72 hours. Arrested on property she's about to run. Humiliated. And now they want to fire her for it. Patricia quiet. What do you want to do? Adrian's jaw sets. Take me there. If they vote against you, then they vote. But I'm not hiding. They arrested me for being black in a space I earned. Board wants to punish me for their mistake? Looks at Patricia. We're going in, showing them everything. They fire me? They do it to my face. Patricia nods. Starts the car. Next 2 hours? Everything. 9 a.m. Sterling Grand Lobby. Adrian walks through the main doors. Same ones from 9 hours ago. Yoga pants, hoodie, bruises visible, exhausted, but spine straight, head up, staff freeze, whispers start. Fiona comes off the elevator, sees Adrian, eyes meet. Fiona goes gray, walks over shaking. Ms. Lockhart, Adrian raises one hand. Office. 9:18 a.m. June steps out from behind the desk, trembling. Ms. Lockhart, I need to apologize. Adrian stops, turns. June crying, last night, I knew who you were. Miami conference, I recognized you, but I stayed quiet. I was scared. Adrian puts hand on her shoulder. You were scared of losing your job. That's not weakness. That's what the system does. Makes you think silence keeps you safe. But I should have. You're speaking now. That counts. 9:20 a.m. Fiona's office. Adrian sits across from Fiona. Patricia beside her. Luther at door. Adrian thinking, 40 minutes, board meets, might fire me. Fiona tries. Ms. Lockhart, I can't apologize. You were told 3 weeks ago. Patricia slides email across. 4 seconds. Deleted. Why shouldn't I fire you right now? Fiona breaks. I thought I'd be CEO. 18 years here. They brought someone from outside. Adrian says it. Someone black. You decided I was the enemy. Fiona sobs. Adrian thinks about Victoria upstairs right now, building her case, trying to end this before it starts. Decides. 2-week suspension, no pay, bias training, management coaching, mediation with staff. Complete all 3. We talk about your future. Fiona shocked. Why would you? Adrian stands. People can change if they choose to. This is your only shot. Walks out. Patricia follows. 35 minutes. I know. What's the plan? Adrian stops. Looks at her. Walking into that room. Showing them who they arrested. Every violation. Every witness. Every receipt. They want to fire me for being right. Let them do it to my face. Patricia grim. All or nothing. All or nothing. Head to conference room. Not knowing if she walks out CEO or unemployed. Everything she built. Everything she fought for. Hanging on next hour. Here's the worst part. Victoria Hess? Already in that conference room right now. Already talking to board members. Building her case while Adrian's still downstairs. Trying to destroy her before she even walks in. And Adrian has no idea. 35 minutes till showdown. Victoria thinks she's got this wrapped up. She has no clue what Adrian's about to walk in with. 9:25 a.m. conference room. Adrian and Patricia head upstairs to the fifth-floor executive wing. They can hear voices through the closed door before they even reach it. Patricia whispers that the board started early. Adrian says, "Of course they did." She reaches for the door handle. Patricia tries to stop her, suggests going in first to feel out the room. Adrian's voice comes out steel. "They want to fire me? They look me in the eye while they do it." Opens the door. 9:26 a.m. 7 board members sitting around the conference table. Victoria Hess positioned at the head like she's running the show. Thompson at the far end looking uncomfortable. Papers everywhere. Printed tweets, screenshots of viral videos, news articles already written about the scandal. Everyone stops talking the second Adrian walks in. She's still wearing yoga pants and hoodie from last night. Hair tied back, those bruises on her wrists visible to everyone in that room. Victoria's face? Pure shock. Wasn't expecting her this early. Thompson starts to stand, starts to say her name. Victoria cuts him off. Tells Adrian this is a closed executive session. She wasn't invited. Adrian stays calm, says she's the subject of this meeting. She has a right to be here. Victoria looks at her with ice in her eyes. Tells her she has no rights in this room. Not until her official start date. Then adds, and get this, which may not happen. Let that sink in. She's threatening to fire Adrian right there. Woman who just spent the night in jail. Board member named Russo speaks up. Suggests maybe it's better if Adrian waits outside while they deliberate. Adrian's voice cuts through. Asks what exactly they're deliberating. Her future without hearing her side? Terminating her based on viral videos and Victoria's version of events? Victoria stands up. Says Adrian's judgment is being questioned. That a CEO doesn't let herself get arrested. And here's where Adrian's voice rises for the first time. I was profiled and false arrested. Says she was on property she was authorized to access. Doing due diligence she was hired to do. Victoria scoffs. Says she could have identified herself. Adrian explains what Victoria clearly doesn't understand. She was complying with officer commands. That's what black people do to survive encounters with police. Asks if Victoria missed that part in her rush to blame the victim. Room goes dead silent. Board member Morrison shifts in his seat. Uncomfortable. Tries to explain what he thinks Victoria's trying to say. Adrian cuts him off. Says she knows exactly what Victoria's saying. That she provoked this. That she wanted it to happen. That somehow she's responsible for Officer Spence's misconduct and Fiona Delacroix's incompetence. Victoria's voice drips venom. Says a CEO with proper judgment would have de-escalated. Adrian's voice cracks just slightly when she responds, I was taking a walk. Says she was on property she's about to run. At 10 p.m., got handcuffed, humiliated, arrested because a paranoid manager and a cop with a grudge decided she didn't belong there. Board member Russo brings up optics. And watch what Adrian does with that. She turns on him. Asks what optics exactly? The optics of a black woman existing in a space white people didn't expect her? The optics of not announcing her title loud enough to satisfy their comfort? Patricia tries to step in. Tries to provide some legal context. Victoria snaps at her. Says this is board business. Adrian states clearly that Patricia's her attorney. She stays. Victoria says Adrian doesn't have authority to make that call. Thompson finally speaks up. Tells Victoria to let Patricia stay. Victoria shoots him a look that could kill. Sits back down, but you can see it on her face. She thinks she's got the votes to win this. Board member Walsh clears his throat. Asks Adrian to help them understand. She was on property 3 days. Never identified herself to management. Seems deliberate. Adrian confirms it was deliberate. Explains she was conducting undercover assessment. Standard practice for new executives. See the reality before staff know who you are. Walsh pushes back. Says surely when confronted by security, she should have identified herself. Adrian explains she was compliant. Showed ID. Explained she was a guest in room 847. Everything checked out. They arrested her anyway. Victoria jumps in. Says her behavior was suspicious. Adrian's voice goes quiet. Dangerous quiet. Lists what Victoria considers suspicious. Walking. Taking photographs of safety violations. Being black in expensive spaces. Asks which part was suspicious. Victoria's face flushes. Tries to backtrack. says that's not what she meant. Adrian asks what she is saying then, because from where she's sitting, Victoria's doing exactly what Fiona did, seeing a black woman in a position of power and finding reasons why she doesn't belong. Board member Rodriguez speaks for the first time, says that's a serious accusation. And here's where Adrian drops the hammer. Opens her bag, pulls out a folder, says it's an accurate accusation, and she can prove it. Slides the folder across the table to Thompson. Thompson opens it, asks what he's looking at. Adrian explains it's the email sent to Fiona 3 weeks ago, notifying her of the appointment, authorizing access. Read receipt shows Fiona opened it for 4 seconds, then deleted it. Victoria tries to defend Fiona, says she receives hundreds of emails. Adrian is not backing down, asks if ignoring the one about her new CEO makes sense. Or maybe Fiona saw the name Adrian Lockhart and assumed she wasn't worth attention. Then she pulls out more papers. Documentation of 47 policy violations found in 72 hours, labor law breaches, safety hazards, systematic profiling, slides them across the table, security footage showing Officer Spence pushing her, causing the fall, then lying about it on his report. More papers, witness statements from guests who recorded the arrest, multiple angles, all time-stamped, papers keep coming. Communication log showing Fiona called Victoria at 3 a.m. And Victoria, Adrian looks right at her when she says this, spent the next 5 hours calling board members, building a case to fire Adrian. While she was still in a holding cell, Victoria's face goes white. Thompson looks at Victoria, asks if that's true. Victoria stammers, says she was trying to protect the company. Adriana's voice cuts like a blade. By weaponizing my false arrest? Asks if protecting the company means calling it a judgment failure instead of what it was. Racial profiling and abuse of power. Russo tries to interrupt, says they're all on the same side. Adrian stands up, says they are not on the same side. Because if they were, they'd be asking why the property manager ignored communication about her new CEO, why security protocols allow profiling, why a police officer felt comfortable brutalizing someone on their property. She leans forward, hands on the table. Instead, they're asking why she didn't make herself smaller, why she didn't announce credentials loud enough, why she had the audacity to walk around property she earned the right to assess. Board members shifting uncomfortable now. Morrison says they need to consider various factors. Adrian's done being polite, asks what factors. Whether she's the right culture fit, whether she'll make white executives uncomfortable, whether having a black CEO is worth the controversy. Victoria stands, says this is completely inappropriate. And here's where Adriana's voice rises again. What's inappropriate is you using my trauma as ammunition. What's inappropriate is this board meeting happening while I have bruises on my wrists from handcuffs. What's inappropriate is blaming the victim. Silence drops over that room like a bomb. Patricia steps forward again, tries to provide context. Victoria says they don't need context, they need to vote. Thompson tells her that's enough. Victoria ignores him, looks around the table, starts to call for a vote on postponing Adrian's start date pending investigation. Adrian demands to know investigation of what? Her arrest was false. Charges will be dropped. The hotel staff and officer are the ones who need investigating. Walsh brings up media attention again. Adriana's voice sharp, says the media attention is because their property arrested their CEO. That's not her failure. That's theirs. Victoria says they need to protect the brand. Adrian laughs. Bitter sound. Asks protect it from what? From accountability? Suggests if they want to protect the brand, maybe don't arrest black executives. Don't profile guests. Don't ignore safety violations for months. Rodriguez tries to calm things down. Asks Adrian to please understand their position. Adriana's voice cracks when she responds. Asks please what? Please be quieter? Please make this easier for them? Then she says it. The thing that's been building this whole time. Says she spent 24 years earning this position. 24 years. And they want to take it away because she got arrested for being black in their hotel. The room goes completely silent. Adriana's breathing hard, trying to hold herself together. Patricia puts a hand on her shoulder. Thompson speaks quietly, tells Victoria the motion is withdrawn. They're not voting today. Victoria, furious, starts to protest. Thompson's voice firm, says the motion is withdrawn. This board will not terminate someone for being the victim of false arrest. He looks around the table, makes it crystal clear, says Adriane's appointment stands. Start date is tomorrow, 9 a.m. Anyone has a problem with that? Take it up with him privately. Victoria, seething, says this is a mistake. Thompson stands, says what's a mistake, is this meeting happening at all? Apologizes to Adrian on behalf of the board. Adrian says nothing, just stares at Victoria. Victoria grabs her papers, says this isn't over, storms out. 3 other board members follow her. Russo, Walsh, Morrison. Rodriguez stays seated, tells Adrian he's sorry. This shouldn't have happened. Adriane nods, can't speak yet. Thompson asks Patricia to give them a moment. Patricia looks at Adrian. Adrian nods. Patricia steps outside. Thompson sits down, quiet for a moment, says he won't insult her by claiming he understands what she went through. He doesn't. He can't. Adrian asks if there's a but coming. Thompson says no but, just an apology. He should have shut this down the moment Victoria called, should have told her the meeting was inappropriate, should have protected Adrian better. Adrian's voice cracks, says she doesn't need protection. She needs justice, accountability, needs to know this won't happen again. Thompson tells her Monday morning 9 a.m. she walks in as CEO, full authority, full support. Wants to clean house? Clean it. Fire Fiona? Fire her. New policies? Write them. Adrian asks about Victoria. Thompson says Victoria's term ends in 6 months, won't be renewed. Adrian says that's not enough. Thompson admits it's all he can promise right now. Board politics are complicated. Adrian stands, says she'll uncomplicate them, walks to the door, stops, turns back. Tells Thompson one more thing. She's holding a press conference. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., 30 minutes after officially taking command. Full transparency about what happened. The arrest, the violations, everything. Thompson's eyes widen. Starts to say that's going to cause controversy. Adrian says, good, because what happened to her happens to Black professionals every single day. And nobody talks about it. Nobody documents it. Nobody fights it. Her voice steady now. Well, I'm fighting, and everyone's gonna watch. Walks out. Part 7. Justice Payback. The Reckoning. 1-800 words. Monday morning, 8:55 a.m. Adrian arrives at Sterling Grand in a black suit. Hair styled, makeup perfect. Bruises on her wrists covered but still visible if you look close. Patricia beside her, carrying a leather briefcase full of documentation. They walk through the main entrance. Same doors. 48 hours ago, she got dragged through them in handcuffs. Now she's walking through as CEO. Staff in the lobby freeze. Whispers start immediately. Fiona's not there. Still suspended. But Luther's standing near the front desk. Security chief who watched it all happen. He sees Adrian. Straightens up. Nods respectfully. Adrian nods back. Keeps walking. June's behind the front desk. End of her night shift. Eyes red like she's been crying. She stands when Adrian passes. Says good morning. Voice shaking. Adrian stops. Tells her good morning. Asks if she's okay. June says she's been better. Been thinking a lot about Friday night. About staying quiet. Adrian tells her they'll talk later. Tells her to go home. Get some rest. June nods. Whispers, thank you. 9 a.m. exactly. Adrian walks into the executive office. Her office now. Nameplate already on the door. Adrian Lockhart, Chief Executive Officer. She sits behind the desk, takes a breath. Patricia asks if she's ready. Adrian says no, but they're doing this anyway. 9:05 a.m. First order of business, staff meeting, main conference room, every department head, every supervisor, security, housekeeping, front desk, kitchen, maintenance. 43 people packed into that room. They're nervous, whispering. Nobody knows what's coming. Adrian walks in at 9:15. Room goes quiet. She doesn't sit. Stands at the front. Looks at every face. Starts talking. Tells them who she is. What happened Friday night. No sugarcoating. No corporate speak. Says she was arrested on this property. Profiled, humiliated. Spent the night in jail. Says she documented 47 violations in 72 hours. Labor law breaches. Safety hazards. Profiling that's been normalized for so long, nobody questions it anymore. Tells them that ends today. You can see faces changing. Some people relieved, some scared, some angry it took this long. She asks a question. Simple question. Who here has witnessed profiling at this property? Silence at first. Then a housekeeper raises her hand. Says she's seen security follow black guests, Latino guests, never the white ones. A kitchen worker raises his hand. Says management talks to him different than white staff. Always has. Another hand. Another story. Another example. Within 5 minutes, 20 hands up. 20 people confirming what Adrienne already knew. This isn't isolated. This is systematic. She tells them changes start immediately. New security protocols, mandatory bias training, anonymous reporting system, zero tolerance policy. Says anyone who doesn't like it? Doors open. Nobody moves. She tells them she's holding a press conference at 10 a.m. Full transparency. They'll hear everything before the media does. They deserve that. Dismisses the meeting. As people file out, Luther approaches. Security chief. Asks if he still has a job. Adrienne asks him a question first. Does he think he should? Luther's quiet. Then admits he watched it happen. Watched Spence push her. Watched Fiona orchestrate it. Did nothing to stop it. Says he was following orders, but that's not an excuse. He knows that now. Adrienne tells him he's on probation. 60 days. Retraining. If he can prove he's willing to change culture, he keeps his job. If not, gone. Luther nods. Says that's fair. More than fair. Asks what she needs from him. Adrienne tells him she needs the full incident report. Every camera angle. Every witness statement. Radio communications. Spence's personnel file. Luther says she'll have it within the hour. 9:45 a.m. Patricia's setting up the press conference. Hotel ballroom. Cameras already arriving. Local news. National networks. That journalist Rashida Ellis front row. Adrienne reviews her notes. What she's about to say will blow this wide open. Patricia asks one more time if she's sure about this. Adrienne says she's never been more sure of anything. Thompson calls her cell. Asks her to reconsider the press conference. Says they can handle this quietly. Adrienne tells him quietly is how it's been handled for decades. That's why nothing changes. Hangs up. 9:55 a.m. Adrienne walks into the ballroom. Cameras everywhere. Questions shouted before she even reaches the podium. She holds up one hand. Room quiets. Starts talking. Tells them her name, her position. What happened Friday night in detail they haven't heard yet. Says she was conducting standard executive assessment. Checked in under maiden name. Spent 72 hours documenting property operations. Says she found systematic failures, labor violations, safety hazards, profiling embedded in security protocols. Says Friday night at 10:47 p.m. she was taking a walk. On property she was authorized to access. Got confronted by Officer Garrett Spence. Showed ID, explained she was a guest, everything checked out, got arrested anyway. Says she spent the night in a holding cell. Bail posted at 8:45 Saturday morning. Charges being dropped as false arrest. Then she drops the bomb nobody's expecting. Says Officer Spence has 14 complaints on his file. Use of excessive force, racial profiling, misconduct, never disciplined, never held accountable. Says his brother was fired from Eclipse Hospitality 3 years ago for theft. Spence has been working hotel security since then. Conflict of interest nobody questioned. Says property manager Fiona Delacroix received notification of her appointment 3 weeks ago. Read it for 4 seconds. Deleted it. Never informed staff. Says when confronted about her presence on property, Delacroix called it suspicious. Called her a threat. Orchestrated the arrest. Then says something that makes every reporter lean forward. Says Saturday morning while she was still in custody, board member Victoria Hess called emergency meeting. Tried to terminate her appointment. Blamed her for getting arrested. Called it a judgment failure. Says 4 board members initially supported termination. would have fired her before she officially started. For being the victim of false arrest. Let me tell you what happens next in that ballroom. Reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing, the story exploding in real time. Rashida Ellis stands up, asks what actions Adrienne is taking against those responsible. Adrienne says Delacroix is suspended pending investigation, will likely be terminated, says she's filed formal complaints against Officer Spence with Ashmont PD Internal Affairs, District Attorney's Office, State Attorney General's Civil Rights Division, says Eclipse Hospitality is implementing new policies chain-wide, bias training mandatory, independent oversight, quarterly audits, says Victoria Hess will not be renewed when her board term ends. She'll make sure of it. Another reporter asks about the viral videos. The public reaction. Adrienne's voice gets quiet here. Powerful quiet. Says what happened to her happens every day. To Black professionals, Latino professionals, anyone who doesn't fit white expectations of who belongs in power. Says difference is she has a title, a lawyer, resources to fight back. Most people don't. Says that's why she's speaking out, why she's making this public. Because silence protects systems. Transparency forces change. Says she's establishing a fund, $10 million, to support hospitality workers who face discrimination, legal fees, job placement, whatever they need. Ballroom erupts. More questions, more cameras. But Adrienne's done. Says thank you. Walks off that stage. 11:30 a.m. Back in her office, phone ringing nonstop. Media requests, interview requests, support messages, Patricia fielding calls. Says CNN wants her tonight. Good Morning America tomorrow. Congressional committee requesting testimony next week. Adrienne says yes to all of it. Thompson calls again. Says the board is furious. Victoria's threatening lawsuits. Other board members demanding she retract statements. Adrienne tells him she retracted nothing. Every word was true. If they want to fire her now, go ahead. But they'll do it publicly, and she'll fight them publicly. Thompson sighs. Says he's with her. Whatever she needs. Says Victoria already submitted resignation. Effective immediately. Couldn't handle the public scrutiny. Adrienne allows herself a small smile. 1 p.m. Luther delivers the files she requested. Spence's personnel record. 14 complaints. All dismissed, all protected. Radio communications from Friday night. Spence calling her a suspicious female. Fiona confirming removal authorization. Security footage. Every angle, the push, the fall, the lies. Adrienne forwards everything to the district attorney, to internal affairs, to the attorney general. Says these aren't staying buried anymore. 3 p.m. June comes to her office. Off duty but couldn't stay away. Says she needs to tell Adrienne something. Been carrying it since Friday. Adrienne tells her to sit, talk. June explains she recognized Adrienne immediately Friday night from Miami conference, knew she was incoming CEO. Says she pulled up the registry, saw the reservation under Adrienne Voss, knew it was her maiden name from the conference program. Says she started to speak up, to tell Fiona, to stop the arrest, but Fiona was watching, listening, and June was scared. Scared of losing her job, scared of retaliation. Says she's been night audit clerk for 6 years. Single mom, 2 kids. Can't afford to lose this job. Says she's sorry. So sorry. For staying quiet. For not being brave enough. Adrienne tells her something important here. Something that needs to be said. Says courage isn't not being afraid. Courage is being afraid and still doing the right thing eventually. Says June came forward Saturday morning. Showed Luther the journal page. Confirmed identity. That took courage. Says June kept a piece of evidence that helped build the case. That matters. Tells her she's not fired. She's not in trouble. She's human. And the system that made her afraid? That's what needs to change. June starts crying. Thanks her. Says she'll spend the rest of her career proving she deserves that trust. Adrienne tells her to start by training new night audit staff, teaching them to speak up, to question orders that feel wrong. Says that's how culture changes. One person at a time. 5 p.m., Adrienne's first official day as CEO ending. She stands at her office window, looking down at the lobby, at staff moving through their shifts, at guests checking in without incident. Patricia asks how she's feeling. Adrienne says exhausted, angry, vindicated, hopeful, all at once. Says she won this battle, but the war's not over. Victoria's gone, but others like her remain. Spence will fight the investigation. The system will protect itself. But something shifted today. Something important. Says she made them see her, made them hear her, made them acknowledge what happened wasn't her fault. Says every Black executive who watches this will know they're not alone. Not crazy. Not imagining it. The profiling is real. The barriers are real. The double standards are real. But they can be fought. They can be changed. Patricia asks what's next. Adrian smiles. Says next is tomorrow. And the day after. And every day until this industry looks different. Says she's just getting started. 6 p.m. Adrian leaves her office. Walks through the lobby one more time. Staff nod to her. Respectfully. Some smile, some still nervous. She makes a point to thank the housekeeper, the cook, the front desk clerk, the people who keep this place running, the ones nobody sees. Says she sees them now, and things are going to be different. Walks out those main doors. Same doors from Friday night. But everything's changed. Patricia asks where she's going. Adrian says home, to her daughters, to tell them their mother fought back and won. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. Enough to matter, enough to count, enough to start changing what comes next. She gets in her car, drives away from Sterling Grand, doesn't look back, doesn't need to. That building belongs to her now, her vision, her rules, her culture. And tomorrow morning, she starts building something better, something that works for everyone, not just the people who've always held power. The real work begins tomorrow, but today she won. 6 weeks later, Sterling Grand looks different now, feels different. New security protocols in place, no more profiling, no more following guests based on skin color. Luther retrained the entire team. Anyone who couldn't adapt? Gone. Staff retention up 12%. Guest complaints down 31%. Property climbing out of red into black for first time in 18 months. Fiona Delacroix terminated. Voluntarily resigned before formal dismissal. Severance package contingent on signing NDA. She took it. Last anyone heard, she's working for a small boutique hotel in Arizona. Not in management. Officer Garrett Spence? Internal affairs investigation still pending. But he's on administrative leave. No badge, no gun. DA reviewing charges for false arrest and assault. His 14 complaints? Now 18. Turns out when one person speaks up, others find courage to do the same. Victoria Hess resigned from the board the day of the press conference. Couldn't handle public scrutiny. Couldn't handle being named. 3 other board members who supported her didn't run for re-election. Gone. New board members appointed. More diverse, more accountable, more willing to ask hard questions. Thompson still board chair. Calls Adrian weekly. Asks what she needs. Listens when she tells him. The press conference went viral. 47 million views across platforms. National conversation about workplace discrimination. Congressional hearings. Policy changes across hospitality industry. That $10 million fund Adrian established already helped 38 workers. Legal fees paid, jobs secured, lives changed, and here's what nobody expected. Applications to Eclipse Hospitality up 200%. People want to work for a company that stands up for its employees, that holds itself accountable. Stock price? Up 19% since the press conference. Turns out investors like transparency and integrity. Who knew? But this isn't about stock prices or media attention or even justice for Adrian. This is about June. Remember June? The night audit clerk who stayed quiet? She's assistant front desk manager now. Promotion came 5 weeks after the incident. Not because she stayed quiet, because she found her voice. She trains every new hire personally. Tells them Adrian's story, tells them her own story, about being afraid, about speaking up anyway, teaches them the difference between following orders and following conscience. And this is about Rosa. Remember her? The housekeeper with the wrist brace? She reported her injury, got proper medical care, workers' compensation, physical therapy. Management didn't retaliate. Couldn't. Not anymore. She's back to work now. Full strength. organizing other housekeepers, making sure they know their rights. And this is about that cook, the one working double shifts because they cut his partner position. They hired his partner back. Full benefits, fair wages, labor law compliance. He still works there, but he's not exhausted anymore. He's not alone. These are the victories that matter. The ones nobody films. The ones that don't trend. The quiet moments when someone decides they don't have to accept mistreatment anymore. When the system that protected abuse starts protecting people instead. Present day, Tuesday afternoon. Adrian's in her office reviewing quarterly reports. Patricia walks in with envelope. Thick envelope, legal letterhead, district attorney's office, official notice, criminal charges filed against Garrett Spence. False arrest, assault, deprivation of rights under color of law, federal charges pending. Trial date set for 4 months out. Adrian holds that envelope. Thinks about Friday night 6 weeks ago. Metal handcuffs, marble steps, holding cell. Thinks about every black professional who's experienced something similar, who didn't have resources to fight back, who stayed silent because silence felt safer. Patricia asks what she's thinking. Adrian says she's thinking about her daughters, both in college now, both watching their mother navigate this. Says she worried at first they'd see her as victim, as someone who got arrested, as someone who failed. But they don't see that. They see someone who got knocked down and got back up, someone who used trauma as catalyst for change. They see strength, resilience, refusal to accept injustice. That's the legacy that matters. Patricia asks if she'd do it differently. Knowing what she knows now, would she still check in under her maiden name? Still conduct undercover assessment? Still take that walk Friday night? Adrienne doesn't hesitate. Says yes. Absolutely yes. Because if she hadn't, those violations stay buried. That profiling continues. That culture persists. Sometimes you have to walk through fire to burn down what's broken. She looks out her window at Sterling Grand Lobby below, at staff treating guests with dignity, at security respecting everyone equally, at system working the way it should have all along. Says justice isn't a destination, it's a practice. Daily choice, constant vigilance. Says she'll spend rest of her career making sure what happened to her doesn't happen to others. Building systems that protect instead of harm. Creating culture where everyone belongs, not because it's easy, because it's right. Patricia says she's proud of her. Means it. Adrian says she's proud of herself too. Took 6 weeks to say that. To believe it. Says she's not victim, she's survivor. She's fighter. She's CEO who changed an industry because she refused to stay silent. That night, Adrian goes home. Her daughters visit for dinner. They want to hear the story again. The real story, not the media version. She tells them everything. The fear, the anger, the moment she decided to fight back instead of disappear. Tells them most important lesson she learned. Your voice matters. Your dignity matters. Your refusal to accept mistreatment matters. Says they'll face their own battles. Different kinds maybe, but battles nonetheless. Says when that happens, don't shrink. Don't apologize for existing. Don't make yourself smaller to fit other people's comfort. Stand tall. Speak truth. Fight back. Not with violence, not with anger, with documentation, with witnesses, with receipts, with the absolute refusal to let injustice hide in shadows. Her oldest daughter asks if she's scared. If the fight ever ends. Adrian tells her the truth. Says she's terrified. Every single day. Because the system fights back. The powerful protect themselves. Change comes slowly, painfully. But fear doesn't mean stop. Fear means the work matters. Says she'll keep fighting until she doesn't have to anymore. Until the next generation inherits something better than what she got. That's the only legacy worth leaving. Her daughters hug her. Tell her they love her. Tell her she's their hero. Adrian thinks about that word. Hero. She doesn't feel like hero. She feels like woman who got arrested for walking while black. Woman who got angry enough to demand accountability. But maybe that's what heroism is. Not the absence of fear or vulnerability, but the choice to act despite them. To use your pain as fuel for change. Your trauma as testimony. Your voice as weapon against silence. Few weeks later, journalist Rashida Ellis publishes follow-up piece. 6 weeks after, how one CEO's arrest changed an industry. Article details policy changes across Eclipse Hospitality, training programs, accountability measures, other hotel chains following suit, quotes from workers whose lives improved, from advocates who've been fighting for years, from Adrienne herself. Last paragraph of article, simple truth. Justice isn't given, it's fought for. Day by day, person by person, small victory by small victory. Adrienne Lockhart fought and won, not just for herself, for everyone who comes after. That's the story worth telling, the legacy worth building, the change worth demanding. One person can make difference. If they're brave enough, if they're stubborn enough, if they refuse to accept that this is just how things are. Adrienne proved that. 6 weeks ago, she was arrested on her own property. Today, she's changing an industry. Tomorrow, she'll keep fighting, because the work is never finished, but it's always worth doing. And that's how you change the world. One uncomfortable conversation, one policy change, one person finding courage at a time. Not perfectly, not easily, but inevitably. If you don't give up, if you don't back down, if you remember why you started fighting in the first place, justice, dignity, the absolute refusal to let fear win, that's the lesson. That's the legacy. That's the point of all of this. Tell your story, fight your battles, change your corner of the world, and trust that others will do the same, until slowly, gradually, inevitably, everything changes.